All right, everybody. We are live over on YouTube, and we are doing a live reaction show. We got a lot to react to. We've got Colorado Springs from last weekend. We've got tonight. I honestly don't even know if we're gonna get the Colorado Springs, but um, we are live on YouTube. So YouTube, thank you for being here, for hanging out. Hopefully, you guys all watch the match along with us tonight, and you're here and can throw in your 2 cents, and we will discuss it with you guys here live tonight. And this will be our episode for this week. So we'll jump right into that, and then I should be getting this thing edited tomorrow night and live ahead of the match this weekend against El Paso. So with all that said and out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started on episode number 45. We're not mad, we're just disappointed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me tonight here live on YouTube and in your podcast feeds this week, we have Earl Nieto and Jacob Terrell. And we've got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. So the idea for our show this week was we were going to talk about Colorado Springs. We were going to talk about Real Salt Lake. We were going to talk about El Paso. I mean, there's a lot to dissect here. Before we do that, and I don't want to stray too far off topic tonight because of how much we have to get to, and it is already late. Burning question of the show: if you had to be on a reality TV show, you could pick and choose whichever one you wanted to be on. Which one would it be, and do you think you could win it?
Naked and Afraid.
Okay. I don't know if that's something you could win. Can you win that one?
Wait, what?
I know it's past your bedtime, Earl. I said I don't know if that's
My
something that you
internet's
can
like
win.
poop tonight. Hang on. I'll
Okay.
be back.
You'll be
Jacob,
back.
you answer. I'll be back.
All right.
Okay.
Earl will be back, folks.
I think you can win on that, but I've never watched it, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
See, this is one of those ones that you probably shouldn't have just thrown at us because there's a lot to process there. I think I'd be pretty good on Survivor. I don't know if I could win it.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
think the one that I would choose though is The Amazing Race, and I think with the right partner, I'd have a pretty good chance.
Okay. See, that's one I thought I could do well on, but I asked because I've been watching a lot of MasterChef lately. Just had it on the background, while I'm working and stuff, and I think with enough practice, I could do pretty well at it. I don't know if I could, if I could take being yelled at by Gordon Ramsay, but I feel like with enough practice, I could do decently at MasterChef. So
Yeah, I like to think I'm a good cook. I don't think I would do well in those circumstances.
okay.
I watch Top Chef a lot, and I know I couldn't do anything near what they do. So if it's a cooking show, I'm staying away from that. I think The Amazing Race is the way to go.
Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't want to put me on a Chopped or something like that. I think I'd just blow all my money and just try to mess everybody up in the first round. I probably wouldn't get very far, but it'd be fun to see what everyone else was stuck having to try to do. But yeah, so I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't want to get too far off topic. I don't want to, again, it is late. I know, again, it's past Earl's bedtime, but we've got a lot to get to. I mean, I think we just start with Salt Lake. I mean, it's what's fresh in our minds. The match just ended probably 15-20 minutes ago, and we have got so much to talk about, so much to get to with this one, and man, I just don't even know. I mean, the night started out fine,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we looked good early. We had a lot of energy, and we got 2 early goals, and then it all fell apart. So I mean, let's just start there. Let's start with the first, 30 minutes of the match. I mean, I didn't see anything that to me, I didn't see anything that made me go, okay, we're not in a good spot tonight. This is not going to end well for us. And it just it looked promising.
Yeah, we went up 2-0, and when that happened, I was about to text you guys and say, "Hey, we didn't do predictions for this week, but if this is the week that 4-0 happens, I'm gonna be pissed." Um, and then, and I've seen a lot of Phil slander so far, and I I can't blame him for any of those goals necessarily. It's uh, the maybe the one from Portillo in the first one, but even that is like dipping away from him and hits the ground at like the worst possible moment, like basically right under Phil. If it lands a foot in front of Phil, he stops it. If it's a foot behind Phil, he stops it. But it hit the ground at the perfect place and gets past him. The second one, uh, the dude's 6 yards away and has any pick of where he wants to go with it. Most of the time, unless it's right at you, that's going to be a pretty hard stop to make. And then Noah's was just probably the goal of the year so far that I've seen.
Looked like a tee shot I had when we played a few months back.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it had some crazy spin, bending away the whole time. I mean, it not even bending away the whole time. It like knuckled on him because it started off curling to the right and then just broke back to the left, crazy, and hit the post. I mean, would Tim Backus have made any of those saves? Maybe he gets one of them, but I don't think he makes all three. Maybe he gets two, maybe, but I mean, it was just even now. I'm like, man, I don't. Nothing points to why we lost that game to me. Like, I can't pinpoint one single thing other than our attack fell asleep in the second half. Like, our attack looks so good to start. Well, maybe not right away, but we grew into it in the first 10 minutes or so, and then from the 12th minute on in the first half, I thought the attack was freaking awesome. Created a lot of chances. And in the second half, it seems like once we get down, we just can't rally this year for some reason. And they score that second goal and get that tying goal, and it was kind of like we didn't know what to do. And then in the 88th minute, it was like, oh yeah, this is what we're supposed to do, but we couldn't find a way to get the ball in the back of the net. And it sucks, especially coming off of a 3-1 loss to Colorado Springs, where we had a lead there too.
Yeah, I haven't seen the negativity, but then I also haven't looked at Twitter too much. I was, of course, live tweeting from the radio station's account tonight, following the match. Aside from the ESPN Plus outage, whatever happened there, I don't know. I saw a few tweets towards the end of the match, saying that the team started off hot this year, but then they cool off. Coach has to go, and then I saw another saying that I can't remember. I don't even. I think I texted it to you guys about what it said.
Troy needs to go.
Yeah, Troy. Someone said Troy needs to go, and then we haven't been as good at the back without Cody. Okay, it took us 2 years to get 3 clean sheets with Cody. 2 years, and we just had 3 consecutive clean sheets. We were at the lowest goals against average we've had in our existence so far this year with Alex back there. And I can't. Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been tough. Like, we knew going into Colorado, we knew that Haji Berry was going to be a threat. We knew that. Now, I don't think we expected this performance tonight from Real, but I cannot agree with needing Troy out. Troy is not how is Troy going to stop a wonder goal from 30 plus yards out that we saw from Noah Powder's shot? How is anything that Troy does or doesn't do going to affect that? Had the first goal that they scored, how is anything that Troy does or doesn't do going to affect that? Like you can't, there's nothing that you can't game plan for 30 for shots from 30 yards out. You just can't. The number one, the odds of them going in are exponentially lower, and it's just I don't know. I don't agree with it. Like I can't blame Troy for that. I can't.
So I'm on the same boat as you. So I immediately hopped on Facebook and was looking at some of the comments, and they're stupid comments like Troy has no purpose to be coaching. He completely fell apart. The team fell apart. Just a whole bunch of nonsense, and it bugs me because it's people that like we know really well. I'm not gonna call them out on air, um, but it's people that have been with the club since day one, but now all of a sudden they're on a 2-game losing streak and it's the end of the freaking world. They're hitting the panic button that Jacob was hitting 3 weeks ago.
Fair. Um, I was hovering over the panic button. I will say I am hitting the panic button right now. I don't. I can't pinpoint what the problem is. Like it's just tonight. It was bangers. We got beat by bangers. That was it. Saturday or Friday night, we got beat by Haji Berry. When we had the conversation Friday night in the group text. Like I wasn't mad about that game at all. Haji Berry just kicked our ass, and sometimes you come up against a buzzsaw player like that, and that's what happens. But then I stop and I look back and I look at the big picture of things, and I'm like, how are you going to lose 3-1 to Colorado Springs? And then how are you going to lose 3-2 to Real Monarchs? How are you going to have that 0-0 draw against Austin at home? How are you going to have the 1-0 loss to Loudon, even if it was the refs? How are you going to give up a last-second goal against El Paso? How do you not score against RGV? And yes, RGV is a good team. Like they won tonight. Thank you, RGV, for beating El Paso. They beat El Paso 3-2, and so they're a legit team. But we still should have scored against them. Like it just the bigger picture is like, okay, yeah, we gave up 3 bangers. It happens. But when you take a step back and you look at it, it's like, what? How are we performing so badly this year? We talked all off season about the additions, and I think the additions have been good. Like Isidro's played good. Brown, I thought, has played good. Illich, what limited time he's been out there, thought it's been good. Tambakis has been great. Azira, okay. Rivas, I thought Rivas has come and gone for me. He's no showed a few games that I felt we could have needed him, but for the most part, everybody's performing about at the level that you would think. We're just not getting results, and I don't know why, and I don't think anybody knows why. I don't think it's the coach. I don't think it's tactics or anything like that. It's just sometimes shit just goes wrong, and it seems like so far this season, shit just goes wrong.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple matches over here the past couple over the past month. Obviously we've talked about Loudon, and I really don't want to get too far back in history. And Loudon beat Pittsburgh tonight, so Loudon's not a terrible team, but that match was just a series of unfortunate events. The non-existent red card, and so on, the missed handballs, and that one really should have turned out completely different. I bet if you go back in and you play that match again 99 times out of 100, you don't get that same set of circumstances that happen. Haji Berry, we talked about him before the match. We knew he was good. We knew he had a ton of pace. We saw him kill us with his pace in the first match against Colorado Springs, and we didn't match up with him well. We didn't contain him very well in that first match. And the same thing happened again, on Friday night. We didn't match up with him well. We didn't contain him. Him and Galena connected time and time and time again, and they just killed us in the defensive third. And maybe it was a little bit of game plan, maybe it was the personnel that was out there, but I just, I don't think that's honestly, I don't think Sam was the best fit to be on that side. I think if you had switched him with Austin, if you'd switched him around, I think Austin would have paired up better with him. I think Austin's got a bit more pace than Sam does. But yeah, in terms of tactics and things, going forward, the only thing that I would say is, we talked about shooting from outside the box, and we saw that work to our advantage against San Antonio. It and we obviously scored from outside the box, once tonight, almost scored, and Tenari's was just inside the box. And so, we're shooting, but I think where we need to improve at is playing through the middle, and we don't do enough of that. Now, maybe part of it, I don't know what the reasoning for that is. I would think that was someone like Amando, who hasn't been there the past couple matches. But even with Sergio, you can do that. You can play through the middle, and you see Dev and Dev and Ilya out there tonight trying to hold the ball up and play the ball around. But I think that's the one area where we need to improve at right now in terms of the attack, is playing through the middle, pulling some of that, because right now people are just sitting on those crosses.
Yeah, I thought we performed well attacking from the wings tonight. I didn't think that it was. I thought Boosie was our best player coming down that far side, which I thought was interesting because usually that's Suggsy's side, but there was a switch there tonight for some reason, and it looked like it was paying off to begin with. I mean, Brucey had the goal. Obviously, he had another chance right after the goal at a second goal where he had a beautiful cross from actually Guzman with a beautiful ball over to him, and had a great first touch and put it on his right foot, but just missed it. And and he had the assist on Tenari's goal. Technically, I just thought that he played really well over there, and I think it's kind of showing that Weehan may have been tougher to replace than we all thought. But to me, it comes down to finishing from the forwards. And after a match on Friday against Haji Berry, and to see what Haji Berry does and how he has such a great impact on the game playing at that forward striker spot, we don't have anybody that can do that. And we haven't since Kevon. And Kevon scored a lot of goals. Say what you want about his personality and stuff. He annoyed the crap out of me at times too. But bottom line was he put the ball in the back of the net, and we don't have anybody that does that consistently enough right now. It's great. We've had 8 players score. We've got a bunch of people that can do things, but the top teams in this league have somebody up front that consistently puts the ball in the back of the net. And that's why I think you might see Colorado make a pretty good run here, as long as Haji Berry stays hot and stays healthy. But somebody, Brown, Mondo, Dev, Illich, one of those guys needs to step up and start putting the ball in the back of the net consistently. Otherwise, we're going to have trouble scoring this whole season. And that is not what we thought was going to happen coming into the game, or coming into the season, when we added a bunch of offensive pieces to this team. I think we all thought that the offense was going to take a step up, but everything about the offense can look great, but if you don't have somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net, then it doesn't really do you any good.
Trying to give Earl a chance to talk here since he's a little bit delayed. No? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it really is tough. It's really tough to pinpoint what's going on. And the thing is, like, it's not. I have a feeling it's not going to be get any better here over the next couple of weeks. I mean, Brownie's going to be going out. Amondo's already out. For potential Gold Cup stuff, and so
Mm-hmm.
you've got to find ways to get the guys that we do have involved. You got to find ways to get the guys that we do have, opportunities. And Brown had a great opportunity tonight. There in the second half, he was actually played through over the top, and he just. And I think it comes down to a couple different things. One is Beavers made a fantastic play coming off of his line.
That's all it was to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it came. I think he did that, and then also, and we've talked about it just a little bit. The turf, like the ball plays so fast on that turf, that I think if you've been playing on grass, that Brownie would have been able to control that ball a little bit better, and maybe cut back to his right instead of with that ball running on him and going to the left. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the larger part of the two was Beavers making that play and coming off his line, making the decision that he did. And yes, he gave up those 2 goals, but I mean, he played well for a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, I think that there were a few good plays that you can look at that maybe we should have scored. There was that one. There's the Bruce one that I was talking about earlier. But like maybe that's a ball that Kevon finishes that first year, the one to Brown, the through ball to Brown. Maybe he's got just enough more pace than Brown does to get to it and chip it over or sidestep Beavers there and end up putting it in the back of the net. I don't know, but maybe later in the year that ball will just be a tick slower. It'll be just weighted just a little bit better from, I believe it was Devin, but I could be wrong. And maybe that leads to Brown being able to round the keeper and score. I don't know. It's just we're right there, seemingly all the time. It's just we're 9 games in now, and just can't put the ball in the back of the net consistently enough. And sometimes, like tonight, when you're going up against bangers, sometimes you have to win the game 4-3. I mean, you can't shut everybody out. Sometimes, the shots just fall for the other team, and you got to figure out a way to score with them. Otherwise, you come away with 0 points. I mean, I think had you asked us 2 weeks ago on Wednesday night, at the same time after we played San Antonio, we'd be going to face El Paso with 0 points on this road trip. I think we'd all laugh at you. But here we are. That's where we're at. No points through 2 matches on this road trip, and it. I want to say it's unacceptable, but maybe I'm starting to think maybe my standards are just a little too high for this team this year, and maybe that's just what we need to expect. Is it's going to be kind of a struggle, at least for now. I mean, it's a long season. We still got 24 matches left, 23 matches left now. So a lot can happen in those 23 matches, but a lot has to change. Not even tactically, we just got to finish. That's just. I mean, I might sound like a broken record, but that's because that's what it comes down to me is you got to put the ball in the back of the net, and we're not doing it. But I'm gonna step away from the offensive side of the ball, even though that's where I think the problem was. Like, what could we have done differently defensively? I know you mentioned switching Austin and Sam in that Colorado Springs match, which I think could have benefited us some, but could we have played a different formation? Is that something that you think we needed to consider? Is it just personnel back there? Is it just tired legs? I mean, yes, the elevation here is high, but to travel to Colorado Springs and then turn around and travel to Real Monarchs, for those players that played both those matches, that's a lot of lot of work on their legs. So is it just personnel and schedule things going on here, or is there other things that we could do, Earl?
So I actually think it's time to look at a different formation. Troy's played a 3-5-2 10 games in a row. Or some kind of variant of a 3-5-2. Whether it be a 3-4-1-2, whatever the heck he can do with it. Whatever the case may be, I think he needs to reevaluate and keep that on the back burner. Obviously, don't just totally ditch the game plan off of that. Don't ditch the running game because they're stopping the run. We saw that happen in Super Bowl with the Seahawks and Patriots. um, but kind of give a different idea to different teams. Hey, look, we're gonna step away from this, and then when they start catching on to that other formation, throw them a curveball and throw the 3-5-2 back in, or throw the 3-4-1-2 or whatever the heck. Maybe go with one up top. I don't think it's personnel. I think the personnel that we have, the roster that we have, whether it be on the bench, whether it be starting, whether it be not on the bench and hanging out at home wherever they're at, whatever the case may be, we have the manpower to suffice any kind of formation or any kind of scheduling. We played every game on the road last year, so this little road trip shouldn't be an issue, but it does seem to be taking our name for sure.
You mentioned tired legs, Jacob, and while there may have been some of that for the guys that did play on Friday night, you also have to think we came into this with 11 days off. So, I mean, really, of these three matches, I would think that the one against El Paso this weekend would be the one where that would be more of an issue.
Yeah, and that's worrisome.
Yeah.
Because if that is the problem with these first two, then it's not going to get any better by the time we go to El Paso. And I actually wanted to bring up the rest versus rust argument when we were going to talk about Colorado Springs last night before we changed our plan. And is that, I mean, coming off of a fantastic 2-0 win against San Antonio like we did 2 weeks ago, would it have been better had we played Saturday to keep that momentum going? Or what happened in those 13 days or 12 days, 11 days, whatever it was, that because I thought we looked good in the Colorado Springs match to start. It was just fantastic plays by Haji Berry and company, and then our offense not being able to produce.
And that's really what happened with Colorado Springs was Haji Berry got hot and just fed off the rest of the team, fed off what Haji Berry had going on. So the Colorado Springs match, I don't think it was rust, or I don't think it was lack of preparedness. I think it was just Haji Berry who does what Haji Berry does. I mean, he has 10 goals.
Have you calmed down on that match since it happened? Because I was sitting there going, "Oh yeah, that was it sucked, but hey, I mean, Haji Berry just beat us, and I wasn't upset in the least." And you were pretty ticked off about it. So have you cooled on that since then, or what are your thoughts now that you've had a few days?
So I've actually had time to go back and watch the match, and that's why I have completely backed off and say, you know what? No, it was not poor. It was not piss poor play on us. It was not sleeping on the freaking pitch. No, it was Haji Berry who caught fire and a yellow card. Well deserved.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you came around to that because I was not upset by it at all, and I'm not really upset by this one. I'm kind of upset by just you look at our record right now, and I feel like it should be better. If you take every game and you look at it just one by one, then it's like stuff is explainable, but at some point it becomes uh, a trend instead of just one offs. And it's like tonight, they scored bangers. Friday, Haji Berry. Whatever day we played Austin when we drew 0-0, you say, hey, they parked the bus. It happened, or they were scared, whatever you want to say. The Loudon match, you can look at the referee. The El Paso match, I don't know what you can look at there, but we gave up a goal in the last minute. And like in each and every scenario by itself, you're like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. But at what point do we have to look inward and say we have to be better than those individual circumstances?
So here's my thing. I'm not mad about this match either. Let me just clear the air there. I'm not mad. I'm bugged. But it's because I love this team so much. I mean, obviously my wife let me put shit on top of the wall. That's how much I love this team.
Is that your wedding picture that's
That would
covering?
not happen if there was not some kind of. I hope so. Wife, if you're listening to it, you're gonna be killed. Anyways, like I was saying, so I'm not mad about this match. I'm hardly even frustrated. I think I'm more bugged because I did text it. We had a shit ton of hustle in the first half.
Yeah, and then that just.
Then the second half came out, and it was. Yeah, the second half came out, and it's like, what the fuck is this team? Like, this is not the team that was the first half. So it was a little confusing because it was not the same team that was playing the first 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same personnel, the same roster on the field, but it was not the same intensity or willingness or whatever the hell you want to call it to go get it. I know they do say that a 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in soccer. I don't care. Go ahead.
Which that just leads me back to, you see that hustle. How are you going to blame Troy for that? How are you going to blame tactics for that? Like, it was so abundantly clear that the problem in the second half was they just didn't try as hard. So how are you going to be like, oh, Troy needs to go because they didn't try as hard in the second half? Like, the players have to be held accountable for that.
So here's my thing. To the person or people or group or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, I have a better name for you. You're a fucking idiot. And I will put it out there. You're a fucking idiot. Because, and I hope I get censored. I hope I get banned. I hope whatever the fuck happens. I hope it happens. But the fact that you say Troy doesn't know what he's doing, Troy's this, Troy's that. Did you listen to the same match I would listen to? Even without watching the match. Had the TV been off and all I had was like Sirius XM or 1017 The Team on my app or whatever, had that's all I had, you would think it was a more intense game because you could hear Troy yelling, Brucey, get closer, Brucey, come up. You could hear him yelling across the field to Sergio, Sergio, step 3 yards back, Sergio, 3 yards back. So whoever has the idea that Troy is not the guy or Troy did not push the intensity or Troy, whatever the hell you want to say, you're a freaking idiot. Sorry, Seth, you're gonna have to put explicit on this one.
No, tell us how you really feel, Earl. Like, no, I don't mind at all. Like, and I don't know, it's tough. Like, as a fan, it's hard to sit here and look at it and say, oh, well, the guys, they played hard, they just didn't quite get the result, and I think so. And again, in the world of sports, people react. And that's what it is. People tend to react in the moment. They don't look at it from a big picture perspective. They don't look at it from, okay, we've been playing pretty well so far this season. We do have, Amondo's not here right now. We do have, it is short rest. It is, 3 matches in 11 days. They don't look at it. They just say, oh, well, we were terrible. Oh, coach needs to go. Oh, we were better at the back when Cody was here. Honestly, we weren't better at the back when Cody was here. I love Cody to death. Cody was a fantastic player. But if you look at the number of goals we conceded with Cody in net compared to what we've conceded so far with Alex, like Alex has performed better than Cody on a match by match basis to this point. You can't fault Troy for some of this stuff. I wish people took the bigger view of things, the longer view of things. Yes, it's disappointing to see us surrender a 2-goal lead. And yes, or what you said, people, say that, 2-goal lead, a 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in soccer. And it absolutely is, because what tends to happen is teams tend to get complacent. Now, I don't think that's what happened here tonight. I don't think we got complacent. I don't think we weren't sitting back waiting to defend. We were still trying to go forward. But if you look at how things changed, how tactically things changed for both sides, even in the first half, Salt Lake started pressing more. And I can't remember which one of you said something in our group text about it, but we had there was some nervous. There was a couple minutes there where we were trying to play the ball out of the back, and we weren't necessarily doing a very good job of it. So Salt Lake was, the Monarchs were pressing more. They were pushing the play up the pitch higher. They were pushing farther into our defensive third, even when we had the ball, and so we didn't necessarily handle that well. We didn't play the ball. I think we should have played the long ball a little bit more tonight, to open that space back up, to relieve some of that pressure. And we didn't necessarily do a great job of that. But, I'm not ready to push the panic button. I'm not ready to jump, on the, hashtag Troy out movement. And I'm scrolling through the Reddit now where we're talking, and looking at some of the comments and stuff, and I'm just, it's soccer, it's football. This it happens. Like, and again, we've said it so many times. The goals that were scored tonight were incredible goals, and the odds of most keepers getting to them are not great. Now, maybe Alex would have had a better shot at at the first two. When I saw the first goal from crap, I forgot the guy's name, for Salt Lake, I looked at it, and Portillo, and I thought Philip got a hand to it. At least that's how it looked to me. I thought like he was right there at it. He, again, maybe it bounced, slightly ahead of where he was at, but I looked like he might have gotten a hand to it, like he wasn't able to completely handle it. But they're tough shots. And you look at the one that Powder threw up. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to go in the goal. It's just not. And I mean, Dev had a header on goal towards the end of the match. We had a couple other opportunities that could have been, but we just didn't finish. And I don't think it's that we're not scoring. We're scoring, maybe not enough or as much as we would like. But at the same time, we've been better defensively this year than we have been in the past. And so I think that's relieved a lot of the pressure that we've been seeing. Now, tonight, again, it was just a couple wonder goals. Last week, Haji Berry. You've got a game plan for that. You got to figure out something some other way. Maybe it is going back to 4 at the back. Maybe that's the answer. I mean, I don't want to see us sit there with 5 at the back like Austin did. Like, I think that's ridiculous. But you've got to have someone, especially against guys like Bear, you've got to have more pace on those outsides. At your fullback position, you've got to have more pace out there in order to help defend that. Maybe Maybe keep your center backs back a little farther. Don't have them push up quite so much. But it's minor changes when it comes to that. Minor tactical changes. It's not. I don't think we need a drastic overhaul of what we're doing. We just have to be more efficient and be smarter about what we're doing on the pitch.
Yeah, the one thing that I will kind of question in the tactical area wise is you kind of have to adjust it. I get that wanting to force the other team to play your style, but like in the case of Colorado Springs with those three and the pace that they have up front, maybe against Colorado Springs you don't do what you normally do against a Real Monarchs or a Austin Bold or something like that. Like Hajiberry has the pace and finishing ability to beat anybody in this league, and sometimes you just gotta respect that and say, okay, we're gonna play 5-10 steps behind what we normally would. We're gonna have whoever's on the outside over there, whether it's Austin or Sam or whoever, they're gonna be a little more cautious. They're not gonna push up as far. But as far as this match is concerned tonight, I don't think there were technical things that you could have adjusted, unless you're screaming at them from the sideline to get up on Noah from 40 yards out, 30 yards out, whatever it was. Like, let him. And most of the time, I say let him take that shot because you're not going to see it go in the back of the net very often. But he put a fantastic boot on it, and what are you gonna do? Like, sometimes that shit happens. So I had a comment just a minute ago on Facebook about the second goal, and we were caught a little flat-footed on it, and that probably should have been handled better. But the other two, yeah, they have some space, but you're not typically threatened by that far out from players that aren't necessarily known as goal scorers from that far. I will say Noah has a tendency to score some bangers every once in a while, so maybe him you're a little worried, but he was so far out that it's like, what do you want them to do? Jump up on them and then leave space behind them for them to play balls over the top or through? So, I don't know. It's frustrating.
See, that's the thing is 9 times out of 10, no one's going to take that shot from 40 yards out. 9 times out of 10, they're going to pass it to a forward or someone closer to the box to score a closer goal. You're not going to kick a 40-yard freaking field goal when you can go for 5.
Or if they do, they're going to miss by a mile, like more often than not. Say probably like 5 times out of 10, they pass the ball, or maybe like 7 times out of 10, they pass the ball. And then on the times that they don't pass the ball, 9 times out of 10, they're going to miss it by a mile. And then the one time that they hit the frame, they hit it perfectly, and it goes in the back of the net. What do you do?
And that's exactly that. You said he hit it right on the perfect spot. Any more to the left, it's bouncing right back out. Any up, it's not going in. It's hitting the top bar, the crossbar. So he hit it in the perfect spot. And like I said a while ago, I'm not mad about it. We got beat by bangers, but it could have easily went the other way. Because we didn't score easy goals. Right. Our 2 goals that went in were stupid bangers. You saw Tenari freaking send a curler in, somehow that goes in.
That Tenari one was basically a practice shot. There was nobody anywhere near him, and he had all the time in the world, and Beavers was playing pretty far to the near side, and he had a ton of space on that far side. So that one, I mean, is it a shot that we see go in all the time? No, but the way it was defended and the way Beavers was playing in the goal, if it didn't go in, I'd have been upset.
Yeah, if it didn't go in from like a normal goal scorer, such as Sergio Rivas or Brian Brown or even Ilya Illich, anyone else like a midfielder such as Tenari, who's not known to score goals, that's incredible. So I'm quite impressed with that. So had and it's all coulda, shoulda, woulda. Had United come back out second half with the same intensity or even half of the intensity that they had in the first half and won somehow, the conversation is going to be the same. That the Monarchs got beat by bangers.
Yeah, it's you can game plan for players. You can game plan for what you think that they're going to do. You can game plan for what you want to do. But you can't game plan for people shooting from 40 yards out. Like we've said a couple times, you can't game plan for that. You can't. You know, if someone wants to shoot from 40 yards, let them shoot from 40 yards. Let them shoot from 30. Let them shoot from 35, because the XG on those types of shots is minute compared to shooting from 18 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, whatever the case may be. Now, maybe we could have closed them down a little bit better, but I mean, realistically, again, it comes down to the XG of those goals. Like, would you rather your players close down on somebody 40 yards out, or ensure that those runs aren't being made into the box, or down the right wing or the left wing? What would you rather do if you're Troy, guys? If you're in this scenario and you see that these guys are going to try to shoot from outside the box occasionally, is that really something that you're concerned about, or would you rather defend the box?
Yeah, no, I think we both agreed that let him shoot from 40 yards. Period. Like that no powder shot had to be millimeter perfect for it to go in, and I'll take those odds all day, every day over him being able to play a through ball in because we stepped up too much. So, what was frustrating, like in year one, was we tended to leave a lot of space right at the top of the 18-yard box. Like we were so scared of them getting deeper that we would drop, 12 yards from like the penalty spot and leave just acres of space right there at the top of the box. And that you can't do. We saw with Tenari. You can't leave them that much space right there at the top of the box. But when it comes to 30, 25, 30, 40 yards out, yeah, let them shoot it. So I don't know. I think
So
we
just
go
to
ahead.
add on to add on the powder shot, it's actually showing on USL right now. Powder power, some bullshit. It's not even like we left him alone. Like he caught the rebound. We were coming up to defend him already. And I'm trying to see who it was. It looks like maybe Tenari, maybe Brucey. Someone's coming up on him, and he just like, fuck it, here it goes, and it's in. So it's not even like we were just hanging out watching him dribble the ball around. No, we were actually coming to play him too, and he just put one in.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do, and it's disappointing to have this kind of result against a team like Salt Lake, against Monarchs, who have been struggling this season. I mean, coming into this game, they had scored 8 goals through, I think it's 10 matches. They had allowed 13 goals through 10 matches, and so, and we were basically the opposite of that. We had scored 10 prior to the Colorado Springs match and had allowed 5. And so, I mean, you're not going to have a perfect record. No, I mean that's near impossible to do. You're not gonna be perfect every night out. I just think what's more shocking is the clubs that these results came against. If we lose 3-2 against Phoenix, against El Paso, against San Antonio, I don't think we're anywhere near as worried about this. We're saying, oh look, we scored 2 goals against a good club. They just happen to be a little bit better. They happen to put a third one in. And so I think I think some of the reaction is due to who these losses have come against. Do you guys think? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
See,
But
and that's the thing is it's USL's. So that's the thing is it's the USL. I mean, we watched Loudon go on like a 4-game losing streak, and then they come back and beat Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's an unpredictable game, so no, I don't think that this conversation is happening if it's any other team, but I do know if it's us losing 3-2 to Phoenix or us losing 3-2 to El Paso, that fan base is gonna be all over Twitter and Reddit and Snapchat and whatever fucking bullshit they go off of out there in the middle of the sticks. Um, I do know that they're gonna be sending their memes to the meme gods to get certified.
so yeah, I agree for the most part. It's tough because it is against a team that we should beat. Like just point blank, we should beat them. Like they're not a good team. They've not played good all season. We should have beat them. The Colorado Springs one, it their performance this year has said they're a tough team, but I think in a lot of our minds they're still Colorado Springs from 2019, which wasn't a good team. We dominated them. We should dominate them. We always think that, but I think they're a much better team than they actually are. So that one, I'm not going to chalk that up to they're a bad team. We should have beat them. I'll say in our minds we probably should have beat them because we think they're a bad team, even if they aren't. And then Loudon, we obviously know we should have beat them. Austin, we probably should beat them. The RGV match to begin the season, at the time we thought, wow, that's a terrible loss because it's RGV, but they've kind of proved that they belong in that top tier of teams in the mountain. So, I'll say this one. This one is the only one that I can really chalk up to. It's a team we should have beat. They're not a good team. It's a disappointing loss because of that, and people are going to freak out because of that. Like if this was, like you said, if this was anybody else, we'd be like, okay, it was a good match. We fought hard, but and part of that's not even true because if we showed this kind of effort against El Paso in the second half of the game, we'd be pissed. We'd be like that effort level was piss poor, and what the hell's going on? So I don't know. I don't know now. It's a point where it kind of feels like talk radio, where we just have to have a take, just because that's what we're here for. But at the same time, like I want to sit back and go, fuck it. Let's just watch and see what happens because at this point, who the hell knows what's going on?
So I want to read you guys some of the. I know you guys aren't big on Reddit. Let me give you guys some of the feedback in the post-match thread there. 12 goals with 9 different scores. Moreno, Suggs, and now Bruce with 2 each. Illich still with 0. This is proving to be a bad statistic. Illich must be a superhero in practice to keep justifying these minutes. I was excited to see Beigel and want him to do well. But it kind of seems like he's not very good. Let's see. Beigel needs minutes as he has been untested, perhaps some friendlies so he can get playing time. Maybe loan him someplace to get playing time and sign an up and coming. Yeah, and sign an up and coming keeper. I mean, bring up one of the kids from the academy. You know, possibly do we need to change a formation? Um, let's see. You talk about height. Playing Moreno as an attacking midfielder. Real bad loss. Beigel is a massive downgrade from Tambakis. Illich needs to be glued to the bottom of the depth chart. Not exactly sure what he's bringing to the table at this point.
So basically, Reddit is just coming at Earl. They just are taking Earl's takes and chewing them up and spitting them out. And look, I think Illich does a lot of good things out there, but Illich, Sandoval, Brown, to a lesser extent, Moreno to a much lesser extent, they all do really good things in hold up play and in creating for others. They're not finishing, and that's what we fucking need. I'm tired of our forwards playing as hold up players and not trying to find the fucking back of the net. Like it's
I agree.
And so to Illich's credit, it's a completely different story if the referee sees the penalty, because Illich did not fake it, despite what the commentators originally thought. He got stepped on, period, and it was inside the box. Whether you like it or not, that should have been a penalty. So maybe we're singing a different tune if that gets called and we take a 3-0 lead and then we didn't never look back. But at the moment, despite what they think about Illich's play, if we have Brown and Moreno out for Gold Cup stuff, guess what? Illich is probably going to start for us.
Exactly. So
and you got to get used to it.
After I read that comment, I went and I pulled up the stats on USLChampionship.com, which we know is a terrible website. Now, as far as I know, these stats are updated through tonight's game. Obviously, we know Kalen has 900 minutes, has not missed a minute yet this season. Looking through the stats for our forwards, I'm going to throw Armando in here as well. Armando has 606 minutes played. Dev has 562. Brian Brown has 387 minutes played. And then Ilya has 261 minutes. 200 of all the forwards on this club, Ilya Illich has the least number of minutes played. So I honestly can't agree with the take that how does he warrant all these minutes played? Who else do we have? Mm-hmm. We don't have anyone else to play in that position.
So here's my thing. Ilya Illich was the first off-season signing. I do remember me and you, Seth, sitting down because Jacob had a call in one night. Me and you sitting down, and
why you taking shots at me?
I see as our.
I'm
just saying you had to call in that night. You weren't here. You're doing married stuff. Whatever the heck it was, I had to call in last week. I get it. Trust me, I understand. Life happens. I remember sitting down with Seth, and he asked me who my pick for off-season signing. I swear I'm not having a stroke. Was who my favorite one was at that point, and I said Ilya. To this point, I still think it's Ilya, because if any of our three forwards go down, such as Mondo and Brian being called for Gold Cup duties here coming soon, when that happens, it is Ilya. And that's why we brought him in. Yeah, he has 200-something minutes. But that's also why whenever he's on the field, the team doesn't look as coherent, because they have someone different up there. They have someone different kind of running the ship. That'd be like Jacob coming out to Moriarty and trying to sing a song out here when no one knows who he is. That's pretty much how it is right now with United. Jacob, put your eye down.
That was a random ass. Like I have no idea where that came from, but okay, I'll take it. It works, I guess.
So it's pretty much the same thing. Is you're putting someone else running the show up there. No one knows what he can and can't do because he doesn't get that kind of playing time in live competition. Yeah, they play him in scrimmage. Yeah, they play him in trainings. Yeah, they played the crap out of him during the friendlies, but he hasn't seen actual competition that matters. So you throw him in there more with Mondo, you throw him in there with Dev, I can guarantee you there's gonna be some kind of gelling that's gonna happen. It's gonna be nice. So I was worried at the beginning of this show. I have since then refused to look at that button. I've officially said no deal.
My my thing with Illich is that he's not a bad player. He has done a lot of good things on the pitch in his 280 minutes. The problem that I have is that he's not scoring because nobody's scoring on a consistent basis. So, eh, to me, I think I've seen enough of Illich to say he's a fantastic hold up player. He's fantastic at getting others involved. He's not going to be the finisher that comes away with double digit goal scores. I've seen enough of Dev in 3 years to know one, he probably shouldn't be starting on a consistent basis. And two, he's also not like the goal scorer type. He scores goals. He scores dirty goals, as I call them. Like he gets the rebound that's right there on the goal line and puts it in. He might get a header here or there. He finds loose balls and puts them in. He's not gonna just take over a game like Haji Berry does. To me, the only two players that we have that can do that are Brown and Moreno. And if we're going to be without them for an extended period of time for this Gold Cup, it might get worse before it gets better, guys. So, the Illich slander is unwarranted. It's not his fault. We don't have somebody that puts the ball in the back of the net consistently. Which, I mean, if you want to take a shot at Troy, maybe take a shot at him for that and not having a signing that is a Kevon-like signing that can do that. You know, Haji Berry was sitting there. Could have done something there, but at this point, I'm not going to fault him for that. I'm just saying if you're going to fault him for anything, don't fault him for a tactical or how the starting lineup shook out or anything like that. Fault him for maybe not having a deep enough roster. I think we added a lot of depth, but 22 players we've learned that might not be enough, man. We might need 25. And so...
Well, we also don't know what Troy is dealing with in terms of expenses. We don't know what the bankroll is that he has available to him. So there's that to consider as well. But no, you're absolutely right. Maybe we should have signed a fifth forward, but you never.
To me, though, the bankroll, Coach Troy has told the media several times that he likes a small roster.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is budget related. I think that is Troy liking a small roster, and maybe that's the one fault you can have for him. Maybe it's hey, maybe we need a couple more guys. I thought we needed a couple more in the back from the get go. The first time I asked him at Media Day if the roster was done, and he said yes. My first thought was, man, we're thin back there. Mm-hmm. Because if you're playing a back three, maybe you got Touche, you got Tete, you got Yearwood, Hamilton, Schmidt. You got several bodies there, but when you start including the back five, if you count the wing backs, then we're pretty thin, man. We're pretty thin back there. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can nitpick, but like I said, I'm at the point now where I think I just want to sit back and see what happens for a while instead of trying to rush to these conclusions. But as far as your takes on Reddit over there, Phil's not terrible. We watched him in preseason and argued that he should have started the season as the number one. To me, it's probably kind of hard as a keeper to not play in a match for 3 months and then see those 3 goals come at you. Like maybe if he had seen a normal goal to begin with or something that he could stop easily, he'd have had confidence. But I think after that first goal, which was a tough goal to stop, I think after that, his confidence might have been a little shook, and maybe that's what hurt him on the second goal or the third goal. I don't know, but I know that he's not that bad. I know that he is a very good quality keeper, and I am convinced that if he was starting the matches that Alex has started, we'd still be right where we're at record wise.
So before we move on to talk about El Paso, I do want to correct something I said earlier. I said it took us 2 years to get 3 clean sheets with Cody. We actually had 4 in the first season with Cody. We got the last one on the last day of the regular season. So I mean, so Cody had 4.
That was 34 matches.
Yeah, 4 and 34 matches in the first season. We have 3 so far through 10. So, I don't. Alex and Cody are both great keepers. We have a better defense this year. I feel like last week against Haji Berry and that stuff was kind of an aberration. We're not going to actually see that a lot unless we played Phoenix 4 times a year. In that case, maybe we'd see that a little bit more. But I think we've done better all around. And then again, the goals tonight. I mean, you really you can't knock Phil for those. You really can't. I mean, could he have been positioned a little bit better? Maybe, but again, there's such low percentage shots, that it's really hard to really fault him for those. So,
exactly.
So looking ahead to El Paso this weekend. El Paso, of course, did lose tonight to RGV. RGV continues their very good season so far. I mean, what do you guys think heading into Saturday's match down at Southwest University Park?
Who knows, man? Like, part of me wants to think that maybe we overlooked Real Monarchs tonight, and that is because we have El Paso coming up, and we're going to be more ramped up and more prepared for this match than maybe we were for tonight's match. But it's going to be a tough game. I mean, it's always tough when we play El Paso. The thing about playing El Paso is I don't think either of us are going to come out and win 2-0 or 3-1 or 3-0. Like it's going to be a 1-goal game, or if not a draw. It's going to be tight throughout, and anything other than that would be a disappointment. Even if we go out and beat them 3-1, it'd be a disappointment because that's not what we're used to when we play El Paso.
So I'm on the same bandwagon as Jacob. I hope that we overlooked El Paso or Real Monarchs and had our sights set on Phoenix. I can't even fucking talk tonight. Had our sights set on El Paso. I pray to God that's what it was. I also don't think that it's going to be a walk in the park like a 3-1 like I've been predicting every week, or a 2-0. I don't even think it's gonna be that. If we're looking at predictions, I would say 2-1.
What do you think, Seth? Not necessarily a prediction, just what are your thoughts on it?
It's going to be tough. It is, and I mean, El Paso is always a tough match. Southwest University Park is always a tough place to go play, and I think we see Alex back in goal Saturday night. I don't think
sure.
I don't think we see Phil again, and that's no slight against Phil. I think Phil is I think Phil's a lot better than what we saw tonight. But I think Alex is the better of the two. So I think we see him back in there, and I think maybe we do actually play maybe a back 4 on Saturday. Maybe go more of a more traditional 4-4-2, or maybe a 4-2-3-1 potentially. Maybe again, we're not going to have Mondo. There's a chance that Brian's not going to be there. So it's going to be Dev and Ilya. It's going to be Dev and Ilya up top. Maybe they spell each other for a little bit. Maybe, 60 minutes for one, 30 minutes for the other, something like that for the next 2 or 3 matches. But yeah, Saturday night, I think we see a more traditional, again, a more traditional formation, um, with Alex back in goal. And we have to find a way to continue to play solid at the back. And we've got to, I think we have to work the middle of the pitch a little bit more, work it into the box that way. I mean, yeah, we can get out there on the wings, we can cross it all day long. We've got Suggsy and Schwartz and Daniel that can do that, but I think we've got to work the middle of the pitch too. And that's going to be one of the keys. Work the middle, get into the box, get some space, and show them that we're not afraid to go through the middle there.
See, I don't think it's gonna be a traditional formation. I really don't. I do see Alex being back in goal. But I also think Troy throws some kind of wrench. I mean, it's El Paso, and exactly that. It's El Paso, so I think some kind of wrench will be thrown. Don't be surprised if you see my formation lineup having Sergio up top. Um, don't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, I think at this point, I don't think there's a drastic change still. I think it's our 5-3-2, 5-3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. I, I think it's the same formation. I think it's probably close to the San Antonio formation, but I don't know. I feel like no matter what the formation is, no matter what the lineup is, people are going to nitpick it. I don't know of anybody. I don't know of any formation that would make. I don't know of any formation and lineup that would make everybody happy. But I think we stick to the three at the back. I I'd be surprised if there's drastic changes for this one with such a short window between matches and having these three matches in a pretty tight span. When we've been playing this 3-5-2 for 9 matches now, I don't think they're going to implement something new on such short rest against a team that we play all the time, seemingly. So, but it's going to be tough. I'm excited for it. I will say that tonight's match was awesome just because I got to watch it on the new TV, um, and so I'm really looking forward to the El Paso one. I hope I get to celebrate a win while watching the new TV, but we'll see what happens. If it's getting late, if you want to get to predictions, I'm gonna go 2-2. I'm gonna go the coward's way out and predict a draw. Just because it's fucking El Paso, man. That's what we do against them is draw or somebody wins by one. And the way we're playing right now, I don't think we're gonna win by one. But they also just lost, and I hate them, so I will never predict them to beat us. So 2-2 is the best they're gonna get.
So here's my prediction. I already kind of gave a spoiler, 2-1, but I cannot guarantee United.
I thought you already said 2-1 United. I'm relatively sure
I
we already
said
have your prediction there.
I said it's 2-1, but I cannot guarantee United.
So you're just
That's
going
where
to
I'm at with it.
predict the final score, but not tell us who wins. I like it.
Yeah, it's fair. Because they can go either which way. It's fucking El Paso, so it can be 2-1 United. I'll be happy with it. It could be 2-1 El Paso, and I might be pissed off about it. So,
but you wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised. And the good thing about this El Paso match is I won't be stressed at all about it.
You're not watching it?
Nope.
At
I
least
have
why?
a $6,200 fireworks show I'll be watching instead.
Nice. City of Mountain Air doing something.
Yeah, we spent $6,200 on fireworks yesterday alone, and more donations are coming in as they.
Who is
Me and
we?
Peter. Me and Peter.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, so
I for sure thought it was just you, and you were just gonna blow up your house.
I mean, if El Paso smokes us like 4-0, I just might.
Fair.
I know that I'm normally the more pessimistic on the predictions here.
You?
Yes,
No.
yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I know I'm usually more pessimistic, and I know that in the past I have been known to pick against us. However, I think this is one where we're gonna come in, we're gonna be pissed. I think we're gonna come in pissed. I think Dev's gonna play well. I think we're gonna see something, maybe Rivas in maybe that cam role, or maybe even Tenari, because he's been playing extremely well lately as that forward cam. Again, maybe more something like a 4-2-3-1. Um, and I think we come out and I think we get on El Paso early. I think we walk away with a 3-1 win.
Whoa, 3-1?
Yeah.
Jesus, are you high?
No, not
What
tonight.
is going on
I'm
tonight?
with this show.
I
That is
just
insane, Seth.
I just think we're gonna come out. We've got something to prove now. Troy's gonna light a fire under them. They're gonna come out and they're gonna play well.
We said that after the Loudon match, though, and then they came out against Real Monarchs that first match and took 80 minutes to score. And honestly, the goal we scored was pretty freaking lucky from Isidro. So I understand what you're thinking and what you're saying, and I want to believe it, and I want you to be right over any of us. But after what we've watched the last two matches, I don't know, man. That kudos to you. This is weird because we're switched, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
That was the ultimate Stephen A moment right there. Like I said, fuck this show, I'm out.
Shout out to the Phoenix Suns, by the way. They just made the NBA Finals tonight for the first time in I don't even know how long, and for the first time in Chris Paul's career. So I'm happy about that. I hated the Clippers, and that was the one good moment to come from the night.
Hawks in 6.
The last time that the Suns made the finals, 1993.
Is it the year you were born? Please say no. Oh God, I'm old.
That's how long it's been. 28 years.
Jeez.
I mean, yeah, my other prediction for that, Hawks in 6.
You're probably right because Giannis is out, but if Trey doesn't come back, who the hell knows? That I think it's going 7.
We beat the Bucks by 20 something points last night without Trey.
I know it's easy to it's easy to rally when your superstar goes out for one game. It's harder to keep that up, which is why I think Milwaukee might win this next one without Giannis because they're rallying behind not having Giannis. But either way, I think it's going 7, and I don't know who wins, but I like Phoenix to beat whoever comes out of it, especially if Giannis is still hobbled or if Trey is still hurting. So, but I think that's going to do it. It's late. We've had an emotional roller coaster of an evening, from predicting us to score 5 goals to us ended up losing 3-2. So it's tough, but I'll let you guys wrap anything else up that you wanted to say. So Earl, go ahead.
So all I have to say is there's 23 minutes left, and then the state reopens.
Yep.
That is what a way to be political to finish the night. Good job.
I'm not being political. I'm being excited that in 23 minutes there will be 15,000 fans next week.
Well, if we're gonna remain political, if we're going that route, who here has started growing their own pot yet?
I already started smoking my own shit, so it's all right.
It's too late for this, guys. It's too late for this conversation right now. So with that, we will be offshooting Somos Mas news, where we talk about today's political events apparently we'll be starting that next week maybe, but it'll probably be squeezed right in between the B cast and Dad Ventures returns probably.
And my worm farm.
Oh, and the worm farm. I
Yeah.
think the worms and the bees and an ant farm should all be one episode. It should just be all put into one. You know, I talked recently about smoking. I smoked some chicken the other day. Actually, today I smoked some chicken breasts. We gotta have a podcast for that.
I went full redneck and I smoked bologna.
I just don't like bologna. I found out. Just
You're
Don't
you're
care
missing
about
out. What kind of redneck are you?
I'm not a redneck.
What kind of hick are you? Live out there in Fort Nowhere. You can't even smoke bologna.
I just don't like bologna. I thought maybe smoked bologna would be good, but I got it at a restaurant in Oklahoma City when we were coming back from Missouri, and it was exactly what I should have thought it was, which was bologna smoked. It still tasted like bologna. You can take the bologna. No wait, I'm gonna butcher that. It's too late to try to come up with a saying there. Anyways. Thanks for joining us. I know it's a day later, but we wanted to try something different, and I kind of liked how it went. Doing this instant reaction. I honestly though, last night when I suggested it, because I will admit that I suggested it, I thought, man, I don't really want to get on and talk about a 3-1 loss, and then have a win on Wednesday, and then maybe lose to El Paso, and then just have two bummer of a podcast. So like, let's push this back to behind the Real Monarchs game, and then we'll have a win to talk about. We'll be riding high right after the match, and then no, fucking all hell breaks loose and we lose. So that was not what I originally planned when we moved it back, but I still thought it went fun. It was fun to get some live instant reactions here, and for those of you that joined, thanks for joining us. Next week it will be on Tuesday, I believe, unless we get a wild hair up our ass again. But Tuesday 9:30, like always. Social media, Somos Mas on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can reach out to all of us personally on basically any platform. We're pretty active on there. You see us going on. So come back, chat, hang out. If you see us at a match, which I know there's not a home match for a week or so, but say hi, do all that jazz. So again, next Tuesday, 9:30, catch us there.